Hello everyone, I hope you are all well and welcome back to my channel. This is just a short video. I've got a new light as you can see and I just wanted to share it with you, and I just wanted to share with you why I chose this. Well, I say I chose this name, or I guess I did. My higher self, I am my higher self, gave me this name in the shower. And many of you know my old channel name was called My Lab Gone Rogue, which I still like. I still think it's a great name, but you know, after some time, when after choosing that name, My Lab Gone Rogue, I was like, oh, I should have thought a little bit more before I rushed into that name. Again, there's nothing wrong in the name. I think it's a great name, My Lab Gone Rogue, as I explained the meaning behind that in a video days ago. But after pondering for a bit, I was just like, yes, I am a My Lab, but I have so many experiences outside of that. I'm not just a MyLab. I've had uh, many types of experiences, some that I've shared already on my channel and some that I will soon share on my channel. And so I don't just fit into one box. And so, My Lab Gone Rogue, implies that, well, it basically tells people that find my channel that all my content is going to be purely about my labs and my lab experiences. And many of you have noticed already that I share different things. I share my there's some psychic elements, there will be some paranormal elements, of course supernatural. I've had positive experience with my family upstairs with the positive extraterrestrials. I've had negative experiences with extraterrestrials, which, kind of does tie in with the whole MyLab side of things anyway, because they do work with those behind these you know, programs and MyLab itself. But yeah, so and there's like, premonitions, probably more to come in the future. So, it's a mixed bag really. And that's just me down to a T because, I am very multifaceted anyway, um, naturally. And so, like I say, I have many types of sides to me and experienced experiences. But yeah, I wanted a name that was more fitting for why I decided to share my experiences, and really to reach for the truth, as we all are, in some way, form, or capacity. And, I've learnt a lot about myself and the world and the nature of reality purely just through my experiences alone. My experiences really had opened my eyes and still are opening my eyes. I'm still learning new things about myself and reality. And, I'm not going to be that YouTuber that, pretends or proclaims to know everything, because really we don't. We are all working it out. We all have pieces of the puzzle of reality, this world, and sometimes we agree on things, sometimes we disagree. And, and I think debating is fine as long as it's in a healthy way, as long as we are mature about it. And, if there's things that people say that goes against another's perspectives, views, beliefs, ideas, then, it's okay sometimes to, in a respectful way, to agree to disagree, be adults, and that's what we need to do, is just, we need to grow up, really. And we are maturing and evolving. We're all going through, well, majority of us are going through a spiritual awakening, and many are, whether they realize they are going through one or not. Eventually, the penny will drop, but it's in their own time. There's no race. We will all get to where we need to get in our own time. So, yeah, reach for truth. I'm reaching the truth myself through my experiences, through others' experiences. Listening to others' experiences is helping me to connect more pieces to my own puzzles and experiences. And sometimes I share things on my channel, and, sometimes the things I share don't make sense, but may make sense to other people. In fact, other people might listen to some of my experiences and be like, oh, wow, I have had the same experience or similar. And that's how we can connect. And, and help together tear down the matrix and break through illusions. And some of my experiences are profound and big, and I remember a lot of details, But I'm on this journey like everyone else, and I'm working it out as I go along. And, as we move into the future, myself and you listener, if you had your own experiences or memories that don't make sense, I can guarantee eventually, I've already seen the proof myself that eventually you'll have more memories or you'll bump into someone that has more knowledge on certain things or has the same or similar experiences. Or in my case, and also for a lot of my labs, we bump into other people, other my labs, we later down the line find out that we've actually had the same mission or the same memories and shared memories. I already have come into, you know, came across people or they've come across my path and we either both remember our shared memories and experiences or one of us do and the other don't. But, this is what the deep state don't want. This is what the cabal don't want. They don't want us to come together, and this is why they want to divide us, separate us, cause division, cause arguments. Keep that animosity between each other. And I see that a lot in the MyLab community. And unfortunately, because of that, I stepped back. And this is why I chose MyLab Gone Rogue, because I stepped away from all that. I didn't want to be associated with these groups. And I still don't, as I mentioned before, I am pretty much a lone wolf. I do keep myself private and isolated in my personal life. Of course, not on my channel. I share a lot, but, private things, private affairs, people I know, jobs, things like that. I keep private. And I stepped away from individuals, people I used to know, groups, whether that's the Starseed group, the Love and Light, My Lab, many of you know I've spoken about this before here and there in other videos, because of bad experiences, past experiences with people who I thought I could trust, with, people who I thought had my best interest at heart, and I've realised that actually, you know, they never did have my best interest at heart, and it's a hard lesson to learn really. But every negative experience have had and probably will continue to have, because there's many sheeps in wolves clothing. It's shaped me into who I am, and this is not me, um kissing their feet. Oh, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be, who I am now. Of course not. Um, but they have helped me grow in more ways than one. Helped me mature. I'm not as naive as I used to be. I'm a bit more head screwed on. I'm a bit more cautious of people, and that's a good thing. I don't live life being paranoid, but I'm very careful and cautious. There's not many people in my life that has proved to me that I can trust them. There are a couple, and I am grateful and thankful for those individuals. But yeah, I keep my circle small. So yeah, I'm always wary of these big groups, these people that are very, clicky clicky, kind of up each other's backsides, really. And half the time they're not really true friends to one another. There's a lot of backstabbing, a lot of talking behind each other's backs, a lot of competition, competitiveness, a lot of envy, jealousy, um, and they're all smiling in each other's faces. I see it, and I've been around people like that, and that was another reason why I stepped away from certain individuals that spoke bad about others that are still friends with these other individuals that were, yeah, not very nice people. But anyway, it's their life. They can do what they want, but eventually they'll probably, get enough, have enough, or be treated in certain ways, similar to the ways I were treated, and eventually they'll just walk away. You live and learn. Sometimes we have to get stung a few times, before we really, just walk away. Like enough is enough. So yeah, with the name change, obviously welcome to Reach for Truth. And yeah, I just think it's I love it, I love it. And how I got the Reach for Truth name idea was in the shower. In fact, my higher self kind of downloaded it into me, if you like, and clear as day, I saw it in big letters and I heard it, Reach for Truth, and I was just like, wow, I love that. And then I had a light bulb moment and I was like, that is perfect. I'm going to use that for my channel. Like I say, I was pondering anyway, because, as much as I love, sorry, I'm repeating myself, as much as I love My Life Gone Rogue, it didn't fit all areas of my experiences. But, and that's what my channel's about. That's why, in the end, when I stopped kicking and screaming and dragging my heels and fighting with the universe, I don't want to share because everyone's going to think I'm crazy. They're going to take the piss out of me. I'm going to lose friends and family. And unfortunately, I did. But that's the price you pay for being truth to yourself and being authentic and holding power and integrity. And because, hiding yourself, making yourself small, not sharing your story, your beliefs, your experiences, not being true and honest and authentic with yourself, it causes you to be depressed. And for a lot of years, I was depressed, like the real you wants to get out and it will fight you until eventually you are brave enough to take that first step, and start sharing your experiences and your truth. And then, yeah, you get bullied, you get mocked, you get picked on, you get called all sorts, you know. And, I was a bit more sensitive back in the day, let's just say in the beginning, especially on my old channel. And, I took people's words to heart and it really hurt me because it was like they have no idea. They have no idea. People that generally thought I was crazy or didn't believe me. And I'm like, no, you have no idea. You don't know me. Making assumptions about me. It's hurtful. And many of you have experienced that. It's very hurtful not being believed. I've had it all my life not being believed by family and friends, or looking at me in peculiar ways, or, seeing me as the black sheep or the scapegoat. I was that one that spoke up and said things that a lot of people around me, family included, were not brave enough to speak about. I was that rebel. I am the generational curse breaker in my family. I'm not the only one. And so, yeah, we sacrifice a lot when you finally are brave enough to come out of the closet, the Starseed closet or the MyLab closet, whatever, the spiritual awakening closet. And anyway, over time, people's words, thoughts and feelings and beliefs and it just bounces off me. I don't allow it to penetrate my aura. I don't. It doesn't, because I don't take it personally, because I generally understand that these people that go around and accuse you of being crazy and this and that, I generally believe, it's not their fault. They don't know any different. They're being brainwashed to believe that anyone that speaks about things that are not, considered normal, they're being trained and programmed right from the get-go to believe that, we're crazy, we're this, we're that, and whatever label they want to put on us, and all that was by design, by the deep state, all these names, this schizophrenia and delusions and all this, and psychosis, all that was to silence us and disempower us, because they knew at some point people like me were going to come out and speak our truth. And so they wanted to nip that in the bud, and it's worked. But a lot of people now are, having their own experiences or going through their spiritual awakening and seeing through all that and seeing it for what it is. It's just illusions, it's lies. So, yeah. And more people are getting on board. They're going to start to have their own experiences and they're going to want to start seeking for answers and reaching for the truth, And I was like, with my name for the new name, I was like, shall I call it Reaching for the Truth or Reach for Truth? And I thought, just keep it short and sweet. Reach for truth, Well, that's what we are. We're reaching for truth, and it's a true statement. That's what we are doing. We are reaching for truth inside ourselves, in our experiences, in others' experiences, in many, many ways. We are reaching and finding the truth. And when we do that, you know, we then also find our light, and our light guides us, and we follow that light, and we just want to keep seeking and searching and reaching, unraveling the matrix, dissolving illusions. I love it, and I love that finally we are in the year 2025. Better late than never, but finally people are getting on board, and people are waking up, very fast, and it's about bloody time. So yes, reaching for truth means a determined, ongoing search for an understanding of reality, facts, and one's authentic self, involving intellectual honesty, courage, and self-reflection. I love it. But anyway, I think that's pretty much all I need to say, really. It's just a short video, but, I just wanted to show you my light, and I've gone for the purple today. It's very fitting, very spiritual. And of course, underneath the reach for truth, it says the time to speak your truth is now. And I think that in itself is very encouraging and empowering as well. And when people like me come forward and share our experiences, our truth, and our truth isn't always your truth or others' truth, take what resonates, leave the rest is quite often something I say. I'm not the only one, but it's true. Whatever is fitting for me might not be fitting for you. We're all different. But like I say, we've all got a voice. We've all had experiences of some kind, especially if you are a MyLab, or a Starseed, or an Envoy, or a volunteer, whatever label you want to give yourself, or just no labels, just you being your human self, your consciousness. We all have a story. We've all been through things, and so this is for everyone. If there's anything you've been holding back, things that you're scared to share, things that you're not brave enough to share, or because you're scared, of being ridiculed and mocked, or losing friends and family. I understand. I know it's hard, but eventually you will start to speak your truth. And so, like I say, I thought that was powerful. Just powerful in itself. The time to speak your truth is now. And like I say, when people like me share our experiences, share our truth, it kind of slowly coaxes others, if that's the right word, encourages others to come forward. And we're like that little lighthouse for them. And I've had people come on my channel that have never shared their experience on social media, and I'm very honoured for that. And so that's just a perfect example. They've seen my story, they've seen my truth, they're listening to me and my experiences, and it encourages them to want to come and share theirs. And so, they reach out to me and, share their experiences. In fact, I'm interviewing someone soon. And I'm looking forward to interviewing this person. He's been through a lot. And so yeah, this channel isn't only just for myself, it's for you and for anyone else that wishes to come on and share their experiences. And together, we all have the pieces of the puzzle of this world, this reality. And we're figuring things out. Like I say, we're pulling back the layers, dissolving illusions, and dismantling the matrix. And no matter how big or small your voice is, no matter how small or profound your experiences are, everyone's experience matters. Everyone's voice matters. And we need to come together and work together. And we need to stop the cabal, the deep state, from, stop them from coming between us. They mess with many MyLabs. Many MyLabs are, have attachments. I had attachments myself. I'll do a story time on that. I had that removed, and it affected me a lot. and I still see attachments on certain individuals, and many are being used in psyops as well. We see that a lot, and that's another reason why I step back from them. I'm not saying that I am, better than them. Of course not. I'm not saying that I have been messed with. They have tried to mess with me. I mean, they do. Of course, I'm a MyLab. They use me. They use my alters. They mind control me to do things. Many of you know I have revoked a lot of the contracts, but there still are contracts that are, with these groups, and I'm working on that. But unfortunately, there are many MyLabs, and they are being played. By these groups, entities, beings, Dracos, reptilian energies, AI, they're being messed with, they're being played with, and making these certain individuals act in a certain way, and they come across as quite cold and dark. Of course, we can be cold sometimes and dark. We are very polarized at times. Of course, we have moods, we have different switches in our personalities, things affect us, but certain individuals are really, really dark, and there's a lot of certain energies around them that is partly responsible for that. But anyway, I'm not going to say any more on that, but it's like I say, it's why I stepped away from these people. But anyway, the cabal, the deep state, they mess with MyLabs and put them, and starseeds as well, and put them deliberately in the paths of other souls, starseeds or MyLabs, to try and derail us or push us off our path, or lead us down a different path, and distract us, or sometimes even use these individuals to cause harm to us. And so, like I say, many of we're in a spiritual war, and we're all being affected by many, many different ways, beings, energies, and things like that. And it's sad because it is causing a lot of us to pull apart, split up, fight. Of course, we're going to defend ourselves by those that cause harm to us. I try and give warnings about certain individuals, and there's many individuals, but I just need to just step back and just, people are just going to have to find out the hard way, through their own experience, and but for me personally, I've stepped away from these people. I'm reserving my energy, I'm healing, I'm protecting my energy. But I'm just going to end this video on that eventually people that aren't who they say they are, or people that are being used and manipulated, or have these attachments, or are in psyops, whether because they know or because they don't, eventually people will see these groups and people and individuals for who and what they truly are, and we're going to see it. We've already seen it with other people, YouTubers and stuff like that, and so we're going to start to see more as we head into the future. And we're also going to see more people stepping into their authenticity, step into their power and integrity and sovereignty, and that's amazing as well. So, but yeah, anyway, guys, I think that's everything I wanted to share. Like I say, it's just a short one, really. And I hope you like the name of my channel. Let me know in the comments, and I'll speak to you all in a new upload.